show gratitude and wake up and be grateful. A person asked me like, how do you, have a positive attitude every day? How do you operate and smile? And it's one to not think about what you missed out on or what you lost, but what you still have left. So that is a mindset. It's not about what you lost. It's about what you have left and what do you have to look forward to. And every day that we wake up, we have something beautiful to look forward to. Yesterday, we spent Sunday morning. It was a beautiful thing to actually be able to share with new traders some of the mentality that we have in mindset. And we did a master class for women, and it was Her Way or Her Wealth, Her Way. And just bring this up real quick. It's a site. All right, we created a whole little site in the masterclass forum, and I want to share that with the mastermind because it's not just about her way, her wealth. It's also about wealth in general and a wealthy mindset. And so part of the majority part of trading, it comes down to psychology, strategy, and lifestyle. And I also talked about expectation, right? And the expectation of what happens when a new person hops in the mastermind, what they expect or what they expect in the market, or what they expect in life. And so your expectations before you get to the mindset and strategy and the lifestyle kind of sets it off. And so we called it the confident trader method. And in trading, I think this applies to everybody in the mastermind. Is what is the confident trader method and what is confidence just in the market, right? And I think it starts with the mindset first, right? You have to master your mind. You have to set the expectations, right? The market it doesn't just test your strategy. It tests your emotions. It tests your patience, the discipline, and identity. So before you even put any money, in the market, right? You have a checklist of things that's being tested from the start. And when it comes to a confident trader or a professional trader, they have to learn how to act correctly while emotions are present. And I think this applies to life, right? We have to learn to act correctly while emotions are present. Not overreacting to situations, not acting emotionally towards individuals or relationships, right? And so in trading, the job is not to eliminate emotions; it's to stop the emotions from making decisions. And I believe that this master class that we did, it also applies to life, and that is part of our mindset. So it is to I guess I can send a reminder out there is that we have to act correctly while emotions are present in all scenarios, right? It's not just in the markets or just while we're trading. And, we can't eliminate the emotion, but we have to stop the emotion from making the decisions. And that is, on the path of becoming a confident person, a confident trader, a confident person, right? And then, one of the things we went through was understanding the fear in trading, right? If the fear is driving the trade, you have to reduce size or do not trade. And this is also, one of the, causes of making emotional decisions. Sometimes you have too much size in the trade and it creates more fear of it going down or up. And you start over analyzing the trade and the emotions get into it. Same thing with controlling the greed. Um, never let a winning trader turn into disaster. A lot of times hope, hops into the trade. So we went through these different stages, right? The power of patience. Sometimes this patience is not doing nothing, right? And the market is open on a Monday morning. It's like, well, do I have to be in it right when the market opens, or do I have patience? Right? These are just some of the things that it happens while we're building our trading mindset. So I actually went through and created a confident trader doctrine, right? It says trading is the high, but making money is the discipline, right? We get feedback and we feel good when we're making good trades, and that is the high. But we are only trading to make money, and that is the discipline that we have to. I wanted to share on the mindset, right? You can't have both until you stop feeding the action and start building a source that makes the confidence automatic. Meaning that the process that you put in place, the rules that you're able to follow, right? Um, and then what is confidence? What is it, right? Um, Most people think confidence is the engine that keeps them in the trade, right? That's the addiction, right? The trader who cannot close the laptop, who needs one more entry, who needs a little bit more money, who mistakes motion for conviction. It's not confident. That's captured, right? The market owns them, and can move them at will because it's not going off of the freedom. And so the freedom to strike, the freedom to stand, the freedom to stay out of the market, right? Um, the freedom to make yourself unavailable, right? And that also happens. You can say in relationships, right? If you can't put up boundaries and say no, if you can't, if you need, right, to be associated with X, Y, Z, right? That's not showing confidence. Confidence is being able to stay out, make a decision, um, right? It is become unmovable, right? The unmovable trader is the most dangerous kind in the best sense, right? Confidence is I don't have to. I don't have to trade. I don't have to do this. I don't have to move forward. I own, you know, my motion, right? I own the motion. And so the own trader, right? Every tick, every move, every trade, is associated with self worth, right? They can't walk away flat. They can't move away, if they just break even, right? The confusion being busy with being right. Freezes to avoid pain when you don't do anything or you don't say anything. That happens in life, right? If you don't have confrontation or you avoid confrontation, right? It's like the situation is owning you. You are unable to move forward and you just freeze, right? And so that's a own trader, um, right? The emotions and people around you and the environment sets the emotional thermostat. That means that they're controlling if you're hot or cold, right? The free trader, DCG trader, right, is you unmovable, whether you green or red, right? You understand that you're free to take the trade or pass it entirely. Um, you measure the day by execution. Are you able to follow your pre-market routine? Are you able to follow your rules, right? And you strike from trust. Hey, if I take this trade, over a period of time, it's going to produce, right? And that's empowerment. So the market can't touch what isn't for sale. If you're not involved when you don't want to be involved, you can't lose. So, the mentality that, hey, you can't lose in trading, right? That should be the DCG mentality that I can't lose because I have a choice when I want to enter, right? And I have the freedom, right? The market isn't going to sucker me in. I want to take the best opportunity. And so confidence isn't source, it's summon. You can actually draw up and says, hey, you know what? I have more confidence today, right? Right. You actually start building it up, right? So you can't force the market to give you an opportunity when you want, but you can develop it and develop a move and says, you know what? Today I'm going to be a confident trader. I'm only going to take good trades, right? It is the output. Is I'm an engineer, right? I can build the confidence that I want to have in the market, right? I can become secure. And so, um, right, I don't have to chase. I can establish the mindset that today I'm confident because I'm only going to take a confident trade. I'm only taking what feels, you know, um, certain, right? And I trust myself to do the right thing. So certainty says I know what the market will do, and that's a lie. The tape punishes it. Self trust says that I don't know what will happen next, but I trust myself to follow the plan when it does. Right. The other is one is fragile, one is unbreakable. And this is the same confidence that we have that, hey, no matter what happens in life, what happens in the market, I'll be okay. Right. I trust myself to rise to the occasion. Right. This is the mindset that confident traders have or develop. Right. It's like, hey, you know what? I don't know what the market's gonna do today, but I trust that I'm gonna make the right decisions. Right. I trust that I have this plan that's gonna work. Right. I trust that I'm prepared for anything. And imagine having that attitude in life that, man, I'm prepared to, whatever happens and puts in front of me, I'm going to overcome it. Right. The DCG mindset is I'm going to overcome it. And, I faced many challenges before. I face the market every day and I just have to make the right decisions. Right. I have a process that works. I don't need to predict the market. Right. I don't need to be right about what I predict because if I'm wrong, I'm going to make the right decision. Right. And I'm going to adjust. And so I'm going to execute, even when I'm wrong, the right play. Right. So I don't have an edge in forecasting the future, but I have a repeatable response to whatever the future brings. So I can say I can be disciplined. I can set boundaries. I can manage my money. I can manage risks. Right. These are other intangibles that happen. Right. And you establish, right, identity over outcome. Right. You can say that, hey, I'm a man, right? And I'm gonna do man shit, or hey, I'm a woman, and I'm gonna carry myself like a woman, right? You can establish that identity before the outcome is even there. And so, for me saying, hey, I'm a man, and saying, hey, I'm gonna be responsible, I'm gonna be accountable, right? I'm not gonna blame that. I'm not gonna let the market say that, hey, it beat me, right? I only can beat myself, and I'm gonna take responsibility. So if I make the wrong decision, I can, be responsible for it, right? Losing a trade is a weather event, right? When you're a winner, uh, you know, it is not an identity crisis, right? I anchor who you are and your behavior, not the result of your last field, right? It's just like a boxer that, if he's getting hit and getting knocked out every round, but he keeps getting up, he's like, well, I'm not a quitter, right? He may not be the best fighter or the best boxer, but he has a drive that says, hey, I will not quit, right? He's not gonna have me, beat myself. So, you know, confidence is not one move, it is two, right? They go from the same root, right? The power to strike and the power to stand down are the same muscle, right? They just use in opposite directions. One shows restraint, one shows the go, right? And a trader, you know, if he's missing one side of that, is only half confident, right? The one that can strike blows and the one who can wait, right? If he can do both, right? That's two arms, one root. It's like some boxers they can go on offense, but they can't go on defense, right? And a boxer is confident if he has a good offense and a good defense, right? He has the power to strike and the power to be defensive. So it's great to be defensive in trading as well, right? Those is both power. It's saying I had the power to strike and I had the power to stand down, right? I have the ability to say no in life and I have the ability to take the chance, right? And that is a powerful combination. Saying no that I'm not trading is a position, and it will always become one of the most profitable positions. To say, hey, I'm cash, right? And also the strike, right? No flinching, no fear, no half stepping, right? I see my edge, I'm able to take advantage and say, hey, this is my trade, right? And that is um, a powerful, combination, right? And you don't want to have counterfeit confidence or counterfeit, um, you know, you know, ability to move, right? You don't want the ego to force a trade to prove something, sizing up to feel powerful, right? Chasing the void, feeling left out, right? That is saying, hey, I'm going in, but it really wasn't you're going in. It was like, hey, I'm in with everybody else, right? And you don't want to act from that standpoint. You want to act from empowered and internally, right? And the counterfeit of stand down is paralysis. Man, I don't know what's happening. I'm just gonna stand down, right? It's not that you don't see the trade. The trade is moving. There's trades out there, but right now you're just putting your head in the sand and just walking away, right? And then when you do see a trade, you're freezing out. So the true confidence, right, is being able to stand down on purpose because you made a decision that hey, this is a position, not because hey, I'm fearful and I just want to ignore what's happening. So am I acting from trust or from a threat? Right? Trust strikes and stand downs freely. Right? There's no threat. It's like, hey, I'm waiting my turn. Threat forces and freezes. Right? So that you can name the source before you click. Right? And then you'll never again confuse the counterfeit for the real thing. Right? And so you'll be tested. Right? We always are tested. Life gives a test. The market gives us tests. Am I acting from trust or from a threat? From hostage to free, right? And they say that no one is born, sovereign. Every trader starts as a hostage and climbs, right? And the ladder is not about more screen time or big account. Is about where your center lives, right? And it's like, hey, I'm making progress, and it comes to a point where you become super confident and trusting your system, and that's the main point is that having a process, you start to have a center of like, hey, I know that my process works. If I just follow the plan, over a period of time, I know that no matter what happens in the market, right, I'll be able to respond, right? And the hostage, the market owns your move, right? The self worth, the whole day, right? And so when I turn off the screen, to me, it's just another day, right? It's not red or green, right? It's just part of a trading day. Um, as a performer, right? You know that on the hard days, right? The hostage returns on hard days. But during hard days, if you are still able to perform, still able to execute your plan, right? You can stay in a performer. I'm actually, running the play. An operator, right, runs the play regardless of how we feel, right? You take the A plus setup, pass the rest, it is mechanically, emotion is present, but no longer driving. Discipline has become a default, not a daily decision. And so when I say that, everybody in DCG is operators or, trying to get to the operator status, it's like, hey, we see the trade, we see our conditions, we take the trade, right? You can have emotions, but it's not driving your decisions. And then when you're free in the market, right? You're you fully serve from outcome, right? You strike and stand down from total freedom. Wins don't inflate you, losses don't shrink you. The market cannot move your center because your center was never for sale, right? It didn't matter. And so after you ran the operator process for so long, it becomes just, freedom, right? And you look at the market as freedom, it's opportunity. And so, you know, that is, the work is going to help you with the discipline, right? And stop saying I'm up, I'm down today. Start saying I follow my plan today, right? You score your behavior, not the P&L. The day you stop letting the results define you is the day the market loses its grip. So it's like, man, if I can just run my play and run the process, take the momentum trades, right? It's like I just ran my process. I follow my plan, right? And that, is the identity, is that, I'm doing the work. Pre-commit the process, decide the entry before the moment, right? So you know that, hey, when someone asks me, uh, when they take a trade, well, what's your targets? And it's like, well, what plan are you operating on to take the trade? What trading system are you using? If you're using the same one I'm using, it's when the momentum stops, right? And you don't rise to your hopes, you fail to your preparation. So if you prepared and you happen to trade, that's the main reason signals don't work. It's not because the trade was called out wrong. It's because people they don't develop their own process, or they understand that, hey, here's the system. When I take a trade, I do X, Y, Z, right? Train to know, right? We get so many alerts in the chats. We get so many alerts in the Discord and the community, right? There's trades happening all the time, and we have to practice the no muscle of like, hey, now this is not good, right? And this is, I don't need to pull the trigger on this one, right? And size small enough, no single trade can hijack your emotions. So if you don't overtrade and have too big of a size, right, you can actually, you know, um, have the mindset that, all right, when it hits this stop, I'll exit, right? And I can sleep through it and I can hold the trade because it's not too big of a size, right? A lot of times when you have a larger size than you're comfortable for, you may sell early, or you'll sell too early, or you'll sell on the first dip, right? The right size is the one that lets you sleep and lets you think. So, that's why I start off a lot of my trades small positions. And so, you know, right, DCG structure is this to widen the pause so the operator, not the impulse, makes the call, right? If you have enough space, right, you can allow it to move, right? And that is, a great place to be where you are confident. All right. And so, doctrine without structure is just a nice feeling, right? Three systems, right? The things you do at a specific time in a specific order with a specific gate, right? That becomes the structure. That becomes the engine. So, I talked about the 30-minute trading tunnels. I talked about yesterday on um, the call. I talked about a 5-step daily process, right? Of just the pre-market, inside. Now, of course, it's a 30-minute trading tunnel, but it doesn't mean it can't last 2 hours. It's just like, what am I going to do in 30 minutes, right? So in the next 30 minutes, what is my process? I know as soon as I get off this call, I have a business report. I'm going to take all the news and the headlines. I'm going to run a script, a pre-market script. I want to see which trades are hot. I'm going to re-update my watch list. I already have Hinge on my watch list for this morning because I'm just looking in front of my screen. Um, there's certain, I'm going to draw out the levels for ES, right? I have a pre-market prep, right? I look at, the high and low of ES, where it was last night. And then the 31st minutes, I'm going to let those settle in between 7 o'clock and 7:30, right? I may take my first trade, or I may wait to the call based on what I see, right? And then I manage throughout. So, this 5-step daily process is what you do throughout the day. The pre-market, I have a pre-market tunnel. I have a process I do when I'm in a trade, and then the Momo gate, right? The money gate. It is that I'm looking for gates that are open, trades 6 and 8, right? So when the market is actually open after 30 minutes, I'm looking at which ones are, scored between, 7.5, 8.5, and 9 and higher, right? And, I'm not going all in my account, right? So I will have a defined stop. This just gives you confidence that, I have a process, right? The market doesn't punish you for bad sales. It punishes you for an untrained mind, right? And so that's how, we established a confident trader is that you have a trained mind. You know exactly the process you want to run. You know what the trade wants to look like. I know the trades and how I want it to look, right? And so this is already set up here where I'm going to be looking for 8.5, right? When I pull this chart up, I want to see things that are running. I got an 8.8 on Fortnite. I got 7.3 here on this one. Right? This doesn't qualify on NBIS. This doesn't qualify. So right now, right away, I see Fortnite and Palo Alto Network here. And then I will update this, put in some other things that I already see. Right? I'll build my watch list of the 6 trades that I'll be looking at. Right? I see an 8.8 on Hinge. This is all pre-market. Inflow 91%. I'll look at other things that I was looking at. And so I'll build my watch list based on after I run my scans, right, of trades I want to look at, trades that, over the night I had already adjusted. Come over here and I can just go through my list and say, all right, which one of these are meet my criteria that I'm going to watch when the market open. So Maine was one I had, but I'll look at the score. Right, I see the outflow, the bearish, Uber. This watch list was created last night, 8.8 on Uber. All right, and then I'll go to another one. I'll just go through my list of trades that I was looking to trade. Right, and Hinge is already there. And I'm looking for strength. All right, 8.8 on Guardian Health. And I just go through the list and find the best opportunities. And then that becomes my watch list for the first 10 minutes. All right, and then that's actually before I've even ran anything. All right, so I'll go through my list. This is the money trades that I had the night before. All right, and I'm looking for the strength on the upside. So that's part of my 30 minutes, right? I'll do that in 5 minutes. I'll run through that thing, my process. It punishes you from an untrained mind, right? What moves you, what corrupts it, fear. Talk about that. And the confidence declaration. This is the last thing, I kind of want to say, right? I source my confidence. I do not summon it. I strike from trust, never from ego. I stand from strength, never from fear. My process decides, not my prediction. My identity. So, right, I had trades I did last night, but I'm doing it this morning. My process decides, not my prediction. When the gate is closed, I do not trade. When the window closes, I close. I trade calm. I trade small. I trade my plan. The market cannot move my center. Right. And this is kind of the confident trader mindset. And then I obviously just went through on that call last night, just saying that, hey, I'm building the source, training the gate, and I'm going to scale with calmness, right? So if you get bigger in the trade, that is the process that we're going through. I'm going to share this real quick on this call before we get ready for the trading day, right? But I shared the actual landing page of this whole site was actually the entire process, right? The 30-minute trading tunnel, the 5-step process, morning preparation, right? You want to establish all those, executing with a plan, reviewing your journal. You want to know that if you read and go through this Her Way DCG challenge, everything on this page is things that, a DCG trader, I want to be able to say, hey, they actually have the ability to check these off. All right. One trading rule I can follow this week. One mistake, I'm ready to stop. I've actually given the funnel, the whole page is an actual class on psychology, on strategy, on the lifestyle. Right. The actual in the text of the landing page was the actual class. So on that note, I see you guys posting in the comments. Let's get to our process. For me, I see, I just gave a couple of tips on a couple of trades, Hinge, Uber, right? A part of my pre-market play list, Guardian Health. And now I'm going to run my process in the morning. But on that note, I want to appreciate all you guys. And see you on the inside, see you in the chats, see you on my call today. All right, peace out.